Okay, so uh, we like to talk a little bit about what is a functional vision. And I think in our days in cataract refractive surgery, we have this great opportunity to retrieve the patients all the functional vision for their life. But we must understand this, of course, and do the proper pre-op evaluation. So behind the biometry, behind the IOL power calculation, different formulas, we need to assess, of course, the ocular pathology of the patients, but we need to understand what are the patient needs, of course, to fulfill the patient expectations. And we have several IOL solutions right now, so we need to improve our pre-op evaluation. But first, what we really need is to rethinking the definition and the clinical relevance for all this concept of different distance of vision, which translates in functional vision for all day long. We have this working group in the ECRS. We are trying to a little bit input this concept, and I think it will be very, very relevant in the future, at least for the patient counseling process. We need to improve that. And we know for some literature that the doctors still are not so confident in explaining the optic design like multifocal presbyopic correction IOLs. Also, we have a few minutes to do it, so all translate in difficulty to explain to the patients, and they reclaim, they demand more information about it. And we should keep this in mind, because I think that even if we select to this patient to have a monofocal IOL, for instance, we need to inform this patient why we choose that option, why this option is the best solution for him. So we need to have more information. And there is a huge development in presbyopia correction IOLs. And one thing that we learned with bifocal IOLs was that patients complained about not having intermediate vision, which is in our days with so many digital devices, our lifestyle is changing a lot. The people work until very late in age, so we need this ability. And we see the development of the IOLs is even trying to improve this intermediate vision with the EDOF lens. We have several right now with different defocus curves. We have also monofocal IOLs, which they are advanced because they have a little bit of correction of intermediate vision. And also the trifocal evolution is towards more intermediate visions. So we should understand all of these, know all of these IOLs to know which one will fit better my patient. If we see, for instance, for the same group of IOLs, and these are all trifocal IOLs, and we can see that they have a split of energy for far, intermediate, and near vision different. So we need to understand that to choose the best solution for our patients. And they also have different points of best focals for near and intermediate vision. So it's a lot of information that we have to process. We understand that there is different focus curves, but how they fit to our patient's daily life is what we need to understand. Because we can even manipulate a little bit with some small offset of target to manipulate all these the focus curves, but how these fit our patients. Really, we have a few instruments to assess all these important information. We have some questionnaires, but patients, they really have some difficulty to respond these questionnaires. They are too subjective. We have some measurements like the hand length, the arm length. It's not enough for us to choose the best solution. So I think that is important because we are doing surgery really more early in the life of the patients. This IOL will be a lot of years, so the results are permanent and also the consequence of our choice. And there is some variability between the patients about what they need, the different distance, and the amount of time they use different distance. So it's mandatory to determine the optimal IOL design for each patient, but the most important, and I think we have a consensus right now about this, we always should involve the patient, educate the patient, so they can have really realistic expectations about the surgery. I think this is really a key point for refractive cataract surgery. And that's why I would like to talk with you about this innovation that we have incorporated in our clinical. We are studying that, but I would like to talk about my experience, my clinical experience with this device. It's a sensor that can measure viewing distance of the patient and light conditions. They use these different distance. It's coupled with in the spectacles, is very user-friendly. The patient need to charge this device at night, and all day is using the device. It's measuring all the distance. And at the end, this device can retrieve us this graph. As you can see, is very visual for the surgeon and also for the patient. And what the information is very objective. We know the frequency of the patient's view distance, different distance as you can see here. And this is very useful for us to understand the visual needs of the patient. It also can give us the light conditions in which these patients are using near, intermediate, and far vision. It's like a combination matrix of all these values. I would like to show you some examples of these. And the important thing here is we have the perspective of the visual needs of the patient, but we need to match it with the focus curves that we know from the different kind of IOLs that we have. So we can use that with the published the focus curves for different IOLs or even our own the focus curves, but also we can go ahead with mix and match the focus curves with target offsets as I showed you before, and also with monovision. Why not? It still is an option in our days. So if you see this example, this is a patient. She used this device for 4 days. We have here all the graphs, and then we can have a summary of these, the use of the device. You see here we have this graph with all the occurrence for the different distance that this patient has used. We can have it in percentage, and then we can fit, for instance, a monofocal IOL. What should correct a monofocal IOL? But we can show the patient, if we choose a trifocal, in his case, we can improve the functional vision of this patient. And we can try an EDOF IOL. And in these cases, the EDOF IOL was the preferred choice. And at the end, we have a report in the patient language that explains all the process to the patient. So it's very informative for our patients. Another example, you see 4 days of use of this device. So this is the same, I'm sorry. This is the new one. As you can see, this patient has more need for far vision. With a monofocal IOL, we can correct almost all, but we can try to choose a mono EDOF IOL, and we can improve a little bit, or a EDOF like VVT, for instance, we can improve it even better, or another kind of EDOF, a diffractive one, which improve a little bit. But at the end, the choice is between the surgeon and the patient. And in this case, the patient chose a mono EDOF IOL. And here we have the report for this patient. We have even tried to, these patients after the surgery use this device for us to understand if the choice was really good, if the patient really is using the distance that we wanted. So this is, for instance, one example of a woman. She used the device 1 month after bilateral synergy, in this case is implantation, and we can see how this patient really used all this distance that we wanted in the pre-op correct. So answer all the questions. What problems does this technology solve? Well, I think it's a good improvement to determine the patient needs and expectations. If the innovation solves the problem, yes, matching objectively with data for choosing the optimal IOL design for each patient, and change the life of patients. Of course, it's a great way to the patient understand the impact of the IOL selection in the daily life. It's important for clinicals. Yes, we can assess objectively the visual needs, and the most important issue is allows communication with the patient. So for the end, why this innovation, why I think is the main issue is this important goal, patient education and engagement, which is very, very needed for this kind of surgery. So thank you so much for your attention. I will finish here.
Thank you so much, Filomena. It was really amazing talk. As a clinician, I had also opportunity, have experience with this technology. This is really very important. We are changing patients' lifestyle, and we have no idea what is patient lifestyle preoperatively. And to examine objectively by this way, really very important. So I would like to ask Damian if any comment about this technology. We have all, Michael, myself, and Chris all experience. What is your comment? What is your question, if you have?
I'm just fascinated. It's a thrilling thing because, as you said, when I discuss with my patient, I'm always surprised by when you ask questions like the notion of seeing far away. For myopes, far away starts 2 meters away. For hyperopes, it's 200 yards away. So when so even this is very important because again, for the myope, there's not the same scale. It's like a bit of Zernike versus another classification. So you cannot trust patients in their assessments when you discuss these things. You need some objective metric, I think, for really knowing what's going on. And it's a multiple dimension tool because you have the distance range properly assessed, I believe, but also the time dimension, which also patients do not really consciously appreciate well. That's again something which is really needed. Now I have another comment, but I'm so biased that I almost do not dare. But don't you find that patients usually do not want the distance, the near and the intermediate, and therefore this kind of instrument, and this is not why I like it first, because I didn't use it, but would probably rise up the level of trifocal IOLs, for example, or at least full range vision IOL. Because when I discuss with my patient these things, at the end they say, if I can have a bit of distance near and intermediate, even if I'm doing more this than that, at the end give me all the thing and I will be fine.
Yes, I think this is the perfect instrument to explain that to the patients. It's true. At the end of the day, they really want everything. If I can have everything, why not? With this image, this graph, they can really understand that there is no perfect solution, and they can understand how can we fit to the objective of their lifetime of them and the job, all the hobbies they have. So the perspective here is really answer that question. People understand that there is always trade-off and that we can fit better with some kind of solution.
And do you have now statistics on a large population? Did you start, because that's a new area also in visual optics, again, yes. The integration of time, distance.
Yeah, we start a study with the device. I only report here my personal experience, clinical experience, but as soon as we have the data, we will give you everything.
Because what could be good if it was embedded in children? You could, is this myopia, knee work is related, etc. So you could find also trends which are related to the ametropia. Correlation, at least. Causation is more difficult, but that would be interesting also to find that.
Yes, of course.
Michael, isn't there, whoops, where'd Michael go? Isn't there a study going on up in the UK looking at myopia in children?
Correctly. I need to disclose that I do have a financial interest with Vivior, but there are studies going on. We did the study on children and progressive myopia at the university in Istanbul, as well as we're supporting a bigger study in the UK.
Okay, great.